Hello, YouTube. Welcome back to Happy Hour. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Happy Hour. Today we're going to drink some whiskey. Go figure. Today, so I've been meaning to do this review, really more for me, but I figured, hey, why not share it with you? Of these two, what I think, spoiler alert, two amazing Scotch whiskey, cask strength, sherry bomb Scotch whiskeys. So I've had both of these bottles for a while. Should probably introduce them first, but we've got the Glenfarclas 105 and the Aberlour, or Aberlour, however you pronounce it. We're going to go with Aberlour, Aberlour Abana. It's a bit of a mouthful, but I think that's correct. But these are both really, really great whiskeys. I've had them both for quite a while now. They're the first bottles of each I've had. As you can see, well, you may not be able to see this, but they're both kind of half full, half empty, depending on how you look at life. But I remember them being very, very similar. And it kind of makes sense they're very, very similar because they're very, very similar in their ingredients and makeup, at least in their styles and what they're trying to represent. So really what we're looking at is Speyside Highland single malts. They're both non-age statements. They're both cask strength, and they're both sherried out the wazoo. So they really are kind of competing with one another, or at least, again, representing that style or that kind of character and that kind of flavor profile. And like I said, I hadn't had them back to back, and I figured, or side by side, I figured why not do a side by side and really figure out which one, if I like one more than the other. I do remember I liked them both very much. But I always love doing this. I like trying to take similar whiskeys and, having a little taste side by side. And sometimes it's surprising. Like I said, I remember having this. I think I bought the Farclas first because I've got quite a few other Glenfarclas and I've always enjoyed them. I remember buying this first and I was like, wow, this is really, really good. And I kind of had the picture of what it tasted like. And then I bought this, I think maybe a few weeks later. And I was like, wow, this is really, really good too. But I remember I felt like it was very, very similar. Well, of course it's similar, I guess, but it was almost like I thought it was the same whiskey. So I'm surprised to see, or I'll be interested to see how similar or how different they are. You can see I already poured a couple. With these heavyweights, I generally like to kind of have them sit for a couple minutes just to air out before I start diving in. But I'm going to add a little bit of water as well. After we've given it a few tastes neat, I'm going to add a little bit of water and we'll see what happens. So yeah, let's dive right in. Let's start with the Glenfarclas. So the Glenfarclas, ironically enough, says it's 60%, which I find kind of odd that it's a cask strength at exactly 60%, where the Aberlour says it's cask strength and it's 59.8%, which, sounds a little bit more natural, like that's just the way it worked out. But whatever, they're both basically 60% alcohol. Yeah, let's dive in. So I haven't had any whiskey today, and I haven't had either of these in several months probably now. So I'm going straight off of memory, and right away, wow, I'm getting a really salty, briny. Obviously, I'm getting a sherry, so I almost forgot to say, but these are obviously going to smell like sherry bombs. Anybody who likes sherried whiskey, you know what that's going to smell like. So I'm going to kind of work around the other obvious, or maybe the not so obvious things other than the sherry. Obviously, there's a ton of sherry in here, which I love, which is fantastic, especially at the higher ABVs. It really, or the higher alcohol content, it really jumps out. But yeah, I'm getting like this salty brininess, which I don't remember getting before. Kind of like a little Old Pulteney-ish, or dare I say a little Springbanky. Wow, yeah, it doesn't smell actually as strong as it is, or even as strong as I remember it. Maybe I got a bit of a cold today. Wow, it smells really good. So I do get a little bit of the Glenfarclas profile that if you've seen my other video, I always get this kind of apple cider note from this. I think it comes from the sherry. A lot of that comes from the sherry side of things, which I really enjoy. And I do get that, but I'm getting kind of a salty brininess with that. It's really cool. It's really enjoyable. Yeah, I don't remember that. So, hey, pleasant experience so far. Let's do the Aberlour. Whoa. Okay, that one's That one got a little bit hotter on my nose hairs. All right, maybe it was just the initial. So I'm not getting that briny character, that salty. It's almost like a caramel, salted caramel or something. I'm getting sherry. I'm going to stop saying that. I am getting a little bit of a lighter fruits with the Aberlour now. Like almost like a little bit of a citrus note, which sounds odd because I'm getting a lot of the deep fruits. Both of them I get that deep, dark kind of raisiny, kind of plum note. But this guy I'm getting a little bit of a lighter note as well. There's a little bit of an apple note too. I tend to get more of like an apple cidery note in the Glenfarclas and other Highland whiskeys, I guess, maybe. I get two apple notes generally. I either get like an apple cider, more of a darker soury apple, or kind of a green apple. And I get more of kind of the green apple note on here. Yeah, a little bit of spice, almost like a little bit of a bourbon spice. Wow, it smells really good. They both smell really good. Let me go back to this one for a second. Yeah, this is more distinct. Huh. I'm going to go side by side. Interesting. So I get more of really kind of a bourbon note with the Aberlour. I get, obviously, it smells like a Scotch whiskey, a sherry Scotch whiskey to me, but to the uninitiated, maybe they might think this was a bourbon. I don't know. Yeah, I get a bit of that kind of Christmas spice bourbony notes. Wow, they both smell really good, but they are quite different, which is surprising. This is fun. I like doing this. All right, I'm gonna go on for a taste. I'm gonna go neat first. So hot. Yeah, it's hot. It's 60%. The heat really does build, actually. It wasn't that bad when it first hit the tongue, but it does. But you move it around your mouth and it starts to really coat and build. It's pretty hot. It's bearable. I could drink it neat. I have drank it. I have had a few drams of this completely without water. I think it does a little bit better with water. So strangely enough, without sounding too lame, a lot of the notes that I get on the nose, I'm getting on the palate. It's hard with the alcohol content for me because it's a little bit overwhelming to pick out any really specific. I do get the caramel apple. Yeah, that salty kind of caramelly apple note does come through a little bit. And then there's just the sherry, that funky sherry malty barley, which I really like. It's really good. All right, so that's good. All right, let's jump into the Aberlour. Aberlour. Yeah, I get more spiciness on the Aberlour, the kind of the higher notes. I get some more, really get more kind of that barrel spice, I think. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, wow, it really does remind me of bourbon. So it's heavily sherried. You get the malty, funky sherried notes. I do get a little bit of the apple. Get a lot of spice, a lot of barrel spice, a little bit of cinnamon. There is some of that stewed fruits, but almost kind of like I don't know, like prunes and plums and cinnamon and spices, like a fig pie or something. I don't know. Is there such thing as a fig pie? If there is, that's probably what it tastes like. We had dark fruits, stewed, sweet. It's not overly sweet, but it's quite sweet. But yeah, this is quite spicy. This is quite a bit spicier and really has a little more character right now off of one sip than the Glenfarclas does. Interesting. All right, I'm going to pause. I'm going to add a little bit of water to both, maybe a teaspoon or so. let them sit for a few minutes, and we'll be back. All right, we're back. So I've added a little bit of water to both, kind of where I would probably normally drink it at. Like I said, maybe I don't know, about a half a dropper's worth for this much. So I don't know what that is. This is kind of, these are kind of smaller drams to begin with, but I remember them both taking water pretty good, and at 60%, I would hope they would. So let's say about a teaspoon or so of water in each. Let them sit for a couple of minutes and just kind of let it all amalgamate, open up, and let's dive back in. So let me go back to the Aberlour. Wow, so I get quite a bit more. I got some more floral notes right away. So everything as before. I get the spices. I get the kind of the darker fruits, a little bit of like brighter citrusy notes, even kind of, and then some floral note. This is really well rounded, actually. Really interesting. It smells fantastic. Okay, the Glenfarclas. You know what, I get the same the same notes as before. They're not bad. I feel like I have more to say about the Aberlour, but yeah, it has gotten a little bit fruitier, a little bit sweeter, but it's really that kind of salted caramel that and the apple cider vinegar kind of note. I say apple cider vinegar. It sounds disgusting, but it's just like a soury, more of a sour apple. It's not off-putting for me, at least. I like it. Yeah, it's malty, appley, a little bit of sweetness. I get more of the apple than I do the stewed fruits. There's a little bit of kind of a darker fruit note, but I definitely get it more on the Aberlour. Okay, let's take a taste. Yeah, I like it better with a little bit of water. It's still strong as hell. It doesn't feel weaker really by any stretch, but it just kind of takes the rough edges off. For me, again, 60% can be pretty pungent. Some whiskeys do better than others at different ABVs, but yeah, a little bit of water tones this down, takes that rough edges off of the alcohol, and it lets really the flavor shine through a little bit more. And it's really nice. I'm getting the sherry, I'm getting that apple, the sweetness. I'm getting a little bit more of the fruits, the maltiness. It is sweeter now too. Yeah, it's good. Definitely better with water. A little bit of water, yeah. All right, Aberlour. This, all I can really think of now is bourbon. It smells like a bourbon. That's all I'm getting. I know it's not. I know it's a single malt whiskey, but I think it's the barrels. It's got to be the barrel spice that I'm getting out of it. And it smells great. I'm getting the flowery, more floral notes. Get the sweetness. This really, I am now coming to the conclusion that these are both fantastic. The Aberlour is definitely a little more well-rounded. I think, the Glenfarclas kind of sits in this 70% center, and I think the Aberlour has like maybe 5 or 10% more on either side of these notes and flavors. It just opens up. It's a little more well-balanced. A little more going on. The taste is even better again. Yeah, it tastes like tastes like a sherried bourbon. Okay. Yeah, I feel kind of spoiled because I think these are both fantastic whiskeys. I'm definitely going to give the edge to the Aberlour A'bunadh. I don't think you can go wrong with either of these. If you like cask strength whiskeys, and if you like cask strength whiskeys that are heavily sherried. If you had both of these on the shelf, so let me talk about pricing. Again, pricing is so weird and subjective, and the UK, they probably pay £5 a bottle for this stuff or whatever it is. Here, where I am in Chicago, again, I think the Aberlour is around the about $85, $90 range, and the Glenfarclas is a little bit less money. I think it's kind of in the $75 to $85 range, so not much difference. They're both, call it $80 plus or minus $5, so to speak. So they're definitely not inexpensive. But when you think of it, you're getting, again, you're getting a cask strength whiskey, 60 odd percent. And if you if you like adding water, which I do, and I think it helps the whiskey even more so. It makes it taste better. Obviously, that bottle is going to go even a little bit longer. So I think they're pretty comparable in pricing. That's another reason why I wanted to take a look at them together. But yeah, I would give the edge to the Aberlour. So all things being equal, if they were both on the shelf, I would buy both of them again. But if I had to choose one, I think I'd take the Aberlour. That being said, I'm going to give this guy, this is right up my alley. This kind of cask strength whiskey. I love sherried whiskey. I love strong whiskeys. So these guys are right in my wheelhouse. I'm going to give this Aberlour, this is a 9 out of 10. I can't really give this a 9 out of 10, so I'm going to give it an 8.5. No, 8.995 out of, no, 8.5 out of 10. So 8.5 out of 10 and 9 out of 10. But again, if you can find them and you like the profile that we've talked about, the flavor profile, I don't think you can go wrong with either of them. But if you can get this guy, get this guy. All right. I'm going to continue drinking these and probably dip into a couple more of these back here and have a great weekend. If you liked the video, click a thumbs up. If you want to subscribe, that'd be cool too. See you later. Happy drinking. Cheers.